Ready to go. Ready to go. Let's do it. Vámonos.
I was just going to say thank you. You've been here since day one. You're there to be proud of us. You guys.
One more over there.
Okay.
Balance it out a little bit.
That's all my check.
Okay.
Okay. Hello. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Microphone's ready to go.
Microphone's ready. Okay, is everyone ready?
Been ready for a while.
I know, I'm sorry you guys, I know it's hot out here. Thank you everybody for coming to this great day. It's been a very interesting year to say the least. We found out last year on July 31st that there was a notice that had gone out that the Salt River wild horses were to be rounded up. And many people sprung into action, and we saw the grassroots just come out of the woodwork, and the Salt River Wild Horse Management Group was on the scene first off and stepped out and brought this to our attention, as you all remember. And then through the process of working together with everybody, I have met many wonderful people, many dedicated horse advocates, and I've made good friends out of this process. I'm going to be recognizing a few of them. There's different organizations that have gotten involved, and I'd like to give a few of them an opportunity to speak to you today. But today really is about thanking Governor Ducey for coming to the table and signing this bill today in support of working together with the Department of Agriculture here in Arizona and the U.S. Forest Service and the private groups to come to a good solution for our horses. And a lot of people have asked me, you know, what it was like over this last year. And I can tell you it's been quite a ride. And we've had our ups and we've had our downs. But trying to sum it up for everybody, I think the best way to put it is, today I read the scripture of the day, and it was, Jesus said, I give you a new commandment. It's that you love one another as I've loved you. And I've been thinking about that all morning long, and I think that puts in words perfectly how I feel. Is that, yes, I love the horses, and the horses are important. But more important, I love the people of Arizona, and I know that they love the horses. And when you love somebody, you will do anything for them. And so it was, I have to say, it was a hard road. But we did find consensus among all the groups, which is a miracle, and we all came together and we found the solution that's going to work for Arizona. And so they're here with me today, and a lot of the folks behind me on the horses have been amazing. Every time we had the bill up for a vote, they would be out there on the Bush Highway up on top of a hill with their flags and their horses. Just amazing. It makes you feel great to be an American, great to be an Arizonan, and we absolutely love these horses. And I think if there were the 7 wonders of Arizona, these definitely would be in the top 3, if not the top. We love our horses, and so thanks again for coming. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Trudy Bassman, and Trudy is a treasure herself here in Arizona. She is an equine artist out of Scottsdale, has amazing, beautiful work, and when she found out that we were going to be doing this today, last night she stayed up into the wee hours of the morning painting a beautiful portrait of one of the horses, the stallions, down at the Salt River. And she calls him the Watchman, and I think I've got that right. She can correct me if I'm not correct, but she calls him the Watchman because he watches over the families down there, and she thought it was symbolic how for Governor Ducey, she's giving this to him as he's our watchman and watches over our state. And so I thought that was more than beautiful. Trudy is brilliant when it comes to things like tourism and marketing, and she's going to be really important when it comes to taking the issue of the Salt River wild horses and making it a blessing for Arizona, not a burden for our state, but a blessing. And I do know the city of Mesa is looking forward to this. They're in support of what we're doing and the tourism that this could bring to Arizona. So there's many things about the horses beyond our love for the horses in and of themselves that the state can benefit beyond this. And then I finally want to say that this is the first time that we know of that something like this has happened. Arizona is showing the way of how we can find a solution without rounding these guys up and sending them off to slaughter or anywhere else. They deserve to be there. These horses were here before Arizona was a state, and they deserve to stay. And other states are looking to us on how to do this, how to find that consensus, how to find the solution, and it is doable. So thank you again for coming, and I'm going to introduce Trudy Bassman.
Trudy, can you spell your name for us and everything?
TRUDYBASTMAN. So, like everyone else, when I heard on the news that these horses were going to be rounded up, I absolutely got in my car and went straight down there. I thought, this cannot happen. I've lived in Arizona for many, many years. I love wild horses. I love horses in general. I have 2 that I have saved and I care for, and they're pets. And I just could not let this happen. So I went down and I was shocked to see these horses and how they behaved with all of us around, and how calm they were, and how they're in families, and how amazing they were. And so I thought to myself, as I watched all of the people arriving, I thought, this is a true treasure for us. I mean, we have to have our wild horses. We have the Grand Canyon, we have Sedona, we have our cowboys and Indians. How can we not have horses? How can we not? It did not make sense to me at all. And then to have the ability to be able to go down to the river, to photograph them, to see them, to be educated by them. I had people calling me from different parts of the country, and they're involved in being farriers, things like that. And they're like, we can learn from these horses. There can be all kinds of jobs that are created, whether it's tourism jobs where we do like the Pink Jeep tours, for instance, where we go down and see the horses. We have learning for schools. There's just a lot that can be done with this, and we're going to put our heads together. We're going to come up with some great ideas, and we're going to make this a really wonderful reason to come to Arizona. And it's so close. It's within a half hour to the airport, the city. People can come and enjoy all the other tourism here, but they can come and see the horses. And these horses are special. There are very few horses in the city that actually put their heads underwater, or in the world. And these horses, they do that. And they're right there, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing for Arizona. I'm proud to be a part, and I'm proud to do anything I can to keep them here and make this a success for our state. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the people that came out, Kelly Townsend in particular, and also Simone, the Salt River Wild Horse Management, but everybody that spoke up, even in the smallest way. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Trudy. Okay, so next we have a representative from the International Society for the Protection of Mustangs and Burros. I knew I was going to get that wrong. The International Society for the Protection of Mustang and Burros. And before I bring her up, she's here representing the president, and the president's name is Karen Sussman. Karen came all the way from South Dakota to come and help us with this situation. And she has been working with wild horses up there for many, many years. I'm going to let Jennifer tell you about that. But I just want to give a shout out to Karen, because she has been just steadfast, a source of knowledge and good direction. We couldn't have done it without her. And she did live in Arizona there for quite amount of time, and so she was very knowledgeable here of our situation. So thank you, Karen Sussman, if she's listening, for everything that she's done. An amazing woman. And here to represent her and her organization today is Jennifer, and Jennifer, your last name? Althoff. I just got to meet Jennifer today for the first time, and I look forward to working with the group that's here locally on behalf of that organization up in South Dakota. So please welcome Jennifer Althoff.
Jennifer, same drill, spellings and all that?
Althoff. Thank you. I am here to represent Karen Sussman and the International Society for the Protection of Mustangs and Burros. We are the original Wild Horse and Burro organization. Our first president, Wild Horse Annie Belma Johnson, put forth into legislation the Wild Horse and Burro Protection Act originally. And Karen has been active in the ISPMB in protecting horses, Mustangs around the country. Arizona, when she was here, she did a lot of things with the horses here, including saving 6 burro herds from being eradicated. She also, from 1995 to 2000, She purchased every wild horse and burro in the rescue program, and during that time, none went to slaughter. Karen has been active throughout the country and in Washington and everything to help these horses, and she was honored to come out here and help the Salt River horses as well, and wanted to, on Karen's behalf and ISPMB, thank everybody for their help and gathering together to help these beautiful horses. Thank you.
Okay, and then finally, we have Simone Netherlands representing the Salt River Wild Horse Management Group. And I met Simone on it wasn't July 31st, it was a few days later, out at Butcher Jones when they had the event to bring attention to the situation. And been working with Simone through this entire year, and I have to say her group is one force that has really brought a lot of attention to this situation, has helped get this bill passed, and the numbers behind it, the emails that came in to the legislators was phenomenal. So she really has done a great job. Her group has done a great job in really lobbying this bill. And this bill that's really needed. It's going to help the state and the Forest Service and our local groups to work together. And it's also going to make it so that the public can't come in and harass the horses. And that's one thing I learned through this process, was we had some folks that would go down there and maybe had been drinking a little too much and wanted to ride a horse, and try and get on it, or, and the worst part was when the folks would be down there shining lights on a mare when she was foaling, and the problems that caused. And so really glad for this bill, so that the public will know that there really are protections for these horses, and that there's rules now that we all are going to have to abide by. And Simone and her group and the other groups that are here are going to help us navigate what that means. And so I want to introduce her to you now, with great pleasure, Simone Netherlands.
Thank you so much. My name is Simone Netherlands, and I am honored and humbled to be the president of a group of amazing, selfless, and dedicated people called the Salt River Wild Horse Management. So I have been speaking for the Salt River Wild Horses, and I've been speaking for the Salt River Wild Horse Management Group, and I've been speaking for the public of Arizona. And I think all can agree when I say, yes! And thank you. Thank you to Representative Kelly Townsend. Thank you to Neil Bosworth. Thank you to everyone involved in this amazing effort. But most of all, this is not just a victory for the Salt River Wild Horses. This is a victory for the public of Arizona, who did not stand for the disposal of our Salt River Wild Horses. So from here on out, we are very excited for the working together of all authorities and all groups. Are the Salt River Wild Horses completely out of the woods yet? Almost. We still do have to sign those memorandums of understanding between all parties to come to that real management protocol. So we encourage the public to stay involved and to keep caring about the well-being of the Salt River Wild Horses until we get that very last step done as well. It was so close. They did almost fade away into history, like thousands and thousands of other wild horses in the state of Arizona and all over this nation. We used to have over 500,000 wild horses in the state of Arizona, and today we're down to the last 500. So, me personally, I'm immensely thankful that the state of Arizona decided that, no, we need to keep that treasure, and that treasure is irreplaceable. It's important economically to us. It's important environmentally. Those horses really leave some great fertilizer in the Tonto National Forest, and that's why it's very abundant. Those horses eat river eelgrass out of the river, and so they belong there. They were there before we ever were. They've lived there peacefully with every species for centuries, and we are beyond grateful that they get to stay. So thank you so much. I also want to thank the American Wild Horse Preservation Campaign, our national coalition partner, who's been instrumental in this, and our local coalition partner, the Wild Horse Ranch Rescue, who helps us when we have a foal that needs to be rescued off the river. And just yesterday, we had this precious foal that got released from the veterinary hospital, and they're there. So hopefully that's an awesome example of how to humanely manage these wild horses, because there's no reason why this can't be done and balance every use in the Tonto National Forest. So thank you all so much. This is a great day for Arizona.
And again, to wrap up, we have one more group to thank, and that is the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And Sheriff Joe was supposed to be here this morning and was taken away from another story, an issue that he has to address. So, but I do want to acknowledge their organization and their support. They've been there from day one, helping out there, and especially the guys out at the Lake Division at the Sheriff's Office. The deputies out at the Lake Division have been absolutely amazing at dealing with the issues out there, and thank you. Yeah. So I look forward to working together with them as well going forward. So with that, we'll take questions.
Okay, let's start off with the obvious one, which is what makes you think you can get an MOU with the Forest Service, given you and all your colleagues stand up on the floor and decry the evil federal government and that they don't want to cooperate? What makes you think the Forest Service is going to say, of course we want the locals involved in this?
I will be the first one to say that I have a newfound respect for the Forest Service and especially Neil Bosworth and his willingness to try and find a solution. He said to me, clearly the public wants to keep the horses, and I consider myself a public servant, he said, and so therefore I'm going to do what the public wants. So Neil Bosworth deserves quite a bit of accolades for that. And going forward, we have done something that I think is nearly impossible here today. This signing of this bill, we didn't know if that was going to happen. So try and find consensus among these groups was kind of, I consider the hand of God helping us, because it did seem impossible, insurmountable. But it's been done, hasn't it? So I have a lot of anticipation that going forward that we will be able to put together an MOU. I know they're already talking about it. I know they're discussing how that's going to look. And then here at the House, we're going to have an ad hoc committee to go over the particulars of what needs to happen, what studies need to be done to find out what's the best route.
What do you want that agreement to say?
I think, at least for Kelly Townsend, I would like to see the federal government, the Forest Service, working together with the Department of Agriculture and with the local groups here to come to some kind of solution to have a good management program for these horses. We do need to have some measure of when there's a situation. For example, we had one of the mares was foaling and the stallions chased everybody off, and there was a lot of public around. We need some enforcement out there in those situations. We need to have certain times to take care of them, but we don't need to overmanage them and be micromanaging the horses. They've been out there since, like I said, before we were a state, and they pretty much manage themselves. But once in a while there's a situation, and I'd like to see just a very simple MOU that says when a situation arises that we can work together to address it.
Who would that be?
That's up to the Department of Agriculture to decide, and the Forest Service to come together who is going to be on that. I'd like to see a number of groups. I don't think that just one particular, there's different things that need to happen out there. There's the tourism aspect. There's the management of the actual horses. So there's going to be many people at the table, and I welcome us to come and find the best solution amongst all of us.
So this says MOU must be entered into by December 31st, 2017. I'd like to hear from Simona. How confident are you the horses will be safe for the next years ahead?
That's why I commented really quick on saying if the horses are completely out of the woods yet. So clearly they're not. We have set a time now with an end period, and we do feel confident that all parties are of goodwill right now, because it's very, very clear what the public wants, and they have listen to that. And so through our negotiations, we do feel confident right now, but we do want the public to stay involved and see how that process plays out. We are hoping that there are some very simple management solutions, like fixing fences. It's very simple to keep horses off the road. It does cost some money, but we have the volunteers, and you know, we can get the donations to do it. It doesn't have to cost the state anything. Another very simple solution is just to have one way for us to call one person when we need to be authorized to either, you know, rescue a horse or when something else happens on the river. That would make it a lot easier for us. So we have our proposal into the Forest Service, and everyone, you know, that was the biggest step, is get everyone willing to look at other options than disposal and removal, and we just feel confident that, you know, this bill is doing that.
So these horses are safe for the next year and a half, at least. The Forest Service will try to do anything.
Absolutely.
I can't speak for the horse.
Oh, we can't. That's true. That's true. I personally feel that the Forest Service wouldn't think about removing these horses.
Have they assured you they wouldn't think of moving them?
Well, I just did shake hands with Neil Bosworth in the governor's office, so if he falls back on his promise, you know, we'll be back, I guess.
I have a question for Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, there's an advocacy group out there who says that this state law doesn't do enough to protect the horses here and may cause problems for federal protections of these horses in other states by creating a patchwork of laws instead of going directly to the federal problem.
I know that Karen has talked very little about that with me. I'm here to represent her. I've been a volunteer for over 20 years. I'm not a member on the board or anything like that. I happen to be somebody who lives here and knows Karen and helped for that long, but unfortunately
That's okay.
Kelly, maybe you can talk about that, because again, you know, I know we believe the state of Arizona is sovereign and all that other stuff, but do we want, you know, 50 different laws, 50 different regulations for managing horses?
Go ahead.
So what you get the $24,000 a year for?
Yeah, 24. Okay, so Article 1, Section 8, right? All the enumerated powers belong to the federal government, and those not listed belong to the states. And I don't think management of wild horses is in Article 1, Section 8. So it is delegated to the states. It is Arizona's right and privilege and honor to come and create, call it a patchwork if you'd like, but it is Arizona's solution to the Salt River Wild Horse group out there. And so, on the other hand, if we're going to talk about federal solutions, that needs to happen congressionally, and we've been waiting. And our horses needed a solution. We tried all fall to work with with Washington to find that solution, to get something done, and it did not happen.
What about the 1971 Federal Act, the Wild Horse and Burro Act?
All right, let me give you a little education on that as best I can. If I get it wrong, you guys correct me. But when they came through, they were cataloging the different herds. And if I understand correctly, and I know that there's different versions, but let's just say that Salt River group was not included in that list of protections. And therefore, because they're not on the list, they're not protected by that act. And to get them on the list, I have been told that they don't want to add any more beyond what's there now. So, I think what we have here is an excellent solution. I invite the other states to look at it and see if any of it applies to their state, but they need to pass laws that are appropriate for their state. This is what's good for Arizona. And so I'm happy with what we've done. I'm amazed with what we've done. I'm being asked to wrap it up. So, maybe we can take one more question, if there is one, and then we'll close down.
Somebody mentioned the new rules, regulations surrounding the Salt River horses. Since more and more people are going there with school, maybe you want to tell folks what they can and can't do around those horses?
Absolutely.
Because of the law.
Because of the law. These are wild animals, and they are not horses that you have in someone's pasture that you can go up and pet. You can't bring them carrots and feed them carrots. That would hurt them. These are wild animals to be left alone out in the forest. And if you do decide that maybe you see a horse and it's got a lame foot and you think that it's humane to put that horse down, you will be held accountable for that. There are people now, there's something in place how to deal with that, and we'll build that up further. But you cannot take matters into your own hands. You cannot harass the horses, especially if there's a mare who's foaling. You cannot shine light on her at night and take a video of it. You certainly can't get on one and ride them. But don't feed them, don't harass them, definitely don't shoot them. You know, it's already against the law to be harming animals in the wild that way. But this just further makes it clear to the public that these are our treasure, and we will protect them as a state.
So it's illegal now to give a horse a carrot?
No. Not yet, but no, you cannot interact with these horses. You definitely get out there and take pictures of them. They're beautiful. They're our treasure. Go down the Salt River on the tubes and take pictures from the river. Amazing creatures. We're so proud of our Salt River wild horses. And Arizona, enjoy your treasure. They're here to stay, hopefully, and just from a distance.
But all this is conditional on the MOU, right? And the deadline.
Well, no, not the part about harassment. That's enacted as soon as this goes into, I think it's August 6th, isn't it? After August 6th, it'll be a misdemeanor if you are harassing the horses. But there will be, as far as working together with the federal government, with the state, with the private entities, there will be MOUs in place, and we'll move forward with that once that's done.
Ms. Bassman, can we see your painting, please?
And Trudy Bassman is a renowned artist from Scottsdale that paints horses. She did this overnight.
This is a white stallion that's down.
You're into the microphone.
Sorry. This is actually Shadowfax. Well, I guess we should name the horses because some people think that would be bad, but that is the name that I have come to know this horse by. This horse has one mare and two foals, and he loves this mare, and he will be with her all the time. In fact, when I was looking at my pictures last night, I was just like, it's amazing to see these horses react and be in a family and how they take care of one another. So I did this painting because when you're down there, they're watching you just like we're watching them. And the more that I looked at my pictures, the more I would see, just like I would get this eye. And in fact, I became a little uncomfortable, to tell you the truth. I felt like they were giving me a dirty look because I was invading their privacy. So I thought, you know what, this horse is down there, he's protecting his mare, he's protecting the other horses around, and I thought this would be something that could be just a good representation, you know, of watching the herd and watching. So this is it. I'm going to work on it some more. I'm going to have prints made, but I have to have it archived. It's not 100% ready, but this is the one that I chose. So thank you all very, very much.
So I'm being asked to close down. I did forget to thank one of the most important people here. If she come forward, Elizabeth Townsend was there by my side this whole time. Elizabeth, thank you. When we had the dead horse down there, she came down there and helped us with that. It was a dirty job, and she was willing to do it along with my son, DJ. So thank you, Elizabeth, for everything you've done, and look forward to keeping our horses. And then one final thought that Simone has just brought up to mention, that these horses are not stray livestock, correct? Did I say that right? They're not stray livestock. They are wild animals that have been here. Whether or not somebody has released a horse into the wild or not it doesn't matter. We have documentation in 1890 in the Arizona archives that they were discussed in that article and named the Salt River wild horses. So they have been here. They were here before us, and they belong right where they are. Thank you everyone for coming, and it's a great day for Arizona.